Hello and welcome to Community Service Spotlight. I'm your host, Bud Qualk, and today we have the United Way Reading Pals with us. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're here today with the United Way Reading Pals, and we're at Morgan Elementary. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Sometimes I forget.
Morgan Elementary.
We're with Kelly Veatch. She is the librarian for the school. And good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Doing great. Thank you.
How do you become a librarian? Are you a teacher and somebody says, we need a librarian, get somebody in here?
Well,
No?
that happens sometimes. For me, I was a school teacher here at Morgan, and I went back to school to get my master's degree, a second master's actually.
Only two?
And, well, my first one was in reading, and then I went back to get my rank 1 degree, and I decided to do library media. And you have to have a master's degree to be a school librarian.
So, how long have you been here, you say?
This is my 24th year at Morgan Elementary and my 6th year in the library.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you like reading?
Love to read.
Like to read.
Love to read.
I see you have
I love
access
books. I love to read.
access to a lot of books.
Yes.
Most of these are a little bit for younger people than you.
They're young people, but I read them, a lot of them, because I have to know the
That's
books
right.
well, so I can match them up with my students.
I forgot about that. Yeah. So you
yeah.
have to read them more than
I read a lot of children's literature actually, and it's pretty good. Most of it's pretty good.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, how did you get involved in the Reading Pals?
Well, when I became librarian, we had the Reading Pal program had already begun, and here at Morgan, and so I kind of inherited it as I became librarian, and we just made my schedule so on Tuesdays where it was open so that I could do the program on Tuesdays. So I've been doing it for the last 6 years.
So every Tuesday, the Reading Pal people come in.
Yes.
And the students match up and they come into the library and pick out a book. And do you help pick out the books sometimes? Or?
If they need assistance, I do, but a lot of times I just leave it up to them. We like at Morgan for our students to have student choice in what they read. And sometimes the PAL encourages something maybe they are interested in and they just come up with the book together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I was a PAL for a little bit, for 1 year,
yeah.
1.5 really, and I'll say something to Anne about that. But when we got there, and I helped my boss, we would double team them, like Eric and Jonathan. Mm-hmm. He would already have the book picked out when we got there, so we didn't get to help him do that. But is that how it usually goes, or?
It just varies from teacher to teacher, student to student, and kind of the situation. Sometimes a child, especially an older child, might be already reading a chapter book and they want to finish up that book or read part of that, so they might bring their chapter book with them. They may have already just been to the library that morning and have picked out some things and they bring their books with them, and sometimes they've just finished up something, so they need to get some new books. So it just kind of depends on the situation.
Yeah. How many do you have here? Do you have
We have
just
32 adults. PALs.
32?
And
that's a crowd.
Yes. Well, and there are different levels because they start with first grade, but many of them move on with them through the grade levels. So they aren't here all at once. It's kind of staggered depending on the grade level schedule. We try to schedule it right before lunchtime so that they read for about 40 minutes first, and then many of the PALs go to lunch with them. Some of them don't, but some of them do, so they can go to lunch if they choose to go to lunch.
Yeah.
So we kind of stagger them from starting about 10:15 in the morning. It runs till a little after 12.
So where do they read? You get 30 people. They don't come all to the library.
Yes, they all come in here.
And
there's 2 to a table. Some sit on the chairs and just kind of scatter around. But it's a pretty full place when they're here.
I was going to say, that's
busy.
Pretty packed.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, 30 and then plus the 30 students, that's 60 people.
Yeah.
Most of the tables are taken.
Yes.
Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Plus. Well, when I read, we had a choice of a couple different rooms we could go into that were that you could also go into. I guess because of the crowd, that was at Clark Elementary, and they didn't have a very big place to read.
Our library is probably a little different than most. I'm not scheduled into the special classes schedule, so we have a flexible schedule at Morgan, and so the library is open all day for kids to come in and out as they need to. I do have classes, but we keep those open on Tuesdays so that I don't have classes during.
So I saw a couple kids trying to come in, and we had to turn them away because we were shooting.
Yes, so we were shooting. They're used to the door's always open. They're always welcome to come in here all day long. So it's a busy
some
place.
students have open time during the day. Is that to do that?
If they during their reading time they finish a book, they can come down, or maybe they finish with their work. Some do it on the way to lunch, on the way after lunch, or bathroom break. They just different times they pop in.
Do they check out books, or do they have to sign out for books what they take home or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Just like a regular library.
Just like a library, for God's sakes.
It's a library. They just check them out. We scan the books, so we have a program that we use called Destiny, and their names are all in the program, and I just have to pull up their name and scan their book, and they're on their merry way.
Well, Kelly, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for coming.
And sharing all your Reading Pal information with us.
It's a great program. It's a great program. We love it.
And we're going to talk to one of the students next. Okay. Hello, we're sitting here with Mr. Kmarion Mays. I have a hard time with that. I don't know why I do. How are we doing today? You doing okay?
Good.
Yeah, okay. We're in the library. This is the school library. This is one of your favorite places, I heard.
My favorite place in this whole school.
And Miss Kelly, the librarian, she's one of your favorite people? Yeah. So you're a member of the Reading Pals program from the United Way.
Yeah.
And you've been doing this how many years now? 3 years? And you were telling me earlier that you went to school at another place before you came here. Well, you went to a number of them. You were in...
First, I was at McNabb at preschool and kindergarten. I was in Clark, first grade Clark. Second grade, I was in Clark for a little bit, only for 3 months, and then, 3 weeks, and then I went to Morgan, and I tried out schools, and this is I'm not moving no more, so I'm just gonna stay here for the rest of my life.
Oh, okay, that's good. We can use you.
Until 6th grade, until I get to 6th grade.
And you used to live in Nashville, you said, for a little bit of time, right?
In Nashville?
Yeah. But you're glad to be in Paducah? Yeah.
It's more funner because in Nashville, it was like really not that much stuff at somewhere around where we lived. We had a blue house. We had a blue house. We lived in our own apartment.
Yeah.
And we don't have nobody attached to our house. And I had a dog.
Yeah.
But like this little, like right there to
About
this.
a foot tall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That when I was 6, I moved here. Had a good time in Paducah. 7 at the age when I was in 1st grade, and I decided to start reading and have a good education in math and reading and science, social studies and stuff.
Yeah, education's the key to success in almost everything. Yeah. You said you like math too?
I love math.
Yeah.
I'm doing really good in math.
Well, that's good. You can't have enough math and sciences these days. The technology stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're planning on staying in this program for a while?
Yeah, I like being on TV, show my mom and dad.
Yeah.
I thank them for making me start reading. Miss Veatch, I thank you for making me all these books, for teaching me how to read and my reading pal. I thank everybody in this whole wide world and God for bringing me in this world and having a good education.
Well, that's a great attitude. Yeah, education's a key. Yeah, yeah. And you look like you have the right attitude and you're headed in the right direction, it sounds like to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of books do you like? Is there a certain kind, adventure or nature?
I can go with, I like Diary of the Wimpy Kid. I like that. I like chapter books, nonfiction, and I like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's, yeah, he's very popular these days.
I like wrestling books over there in that shelf over there.
Wrestling books? You like to wrestle?
My favorite player is The Rock.
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
And Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He used to be a football player a long time ago.
He did?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Believe it or not, yeah.
And these days, I started to play basketball. My mom said, if you want to be in basketball, you have to pick these grade stuff, or you won't get a good education.
That's right, yeah.
That's what happens in life.
Yeah, you might get a scholarship, help pay you for your college education, yeah. Yeah. It's hard to go pro, though, but so you need to get that education. A lot of kids just they worry about the basketball, they're going to go pro in basketball, and you know how that goes. Not very many people get to do that. So education's a key, and it sounds like you know that already, which a lot of children your age don't know that yet. So you're way ahead of the game, yeah, I think.
I played basketball about since 2015. In 2016, I had a trophy of the most at three-point contest I shot 7 3-pointers and I won a trophy. 2017, we had a free throw contest and I won that year. This year, 2018, we won the finals of me and my team, my teammates. I thank for my coach and everything.
You're some basketball player. 7 out of 10 3-pointers. I can't hit 7 out of 10 layups. How old are you? Are you sure you're not 21?
Yeah. My brother is 20.
Yeah, your brother's 20. Okay. Does he teach you how to play a little bit?
Yeah, he teaches me how to play on offense. Is when you dribble and try to take it to the hole and stuff. Defense means you guard your man, and we always play outside with each other, play games.
Yeah.
And, like Fortnite, people like Fortnite.
Yeah.
But we just don't play Fortnite all day. We play basketball, football, sometimes soccer. I don't really know that much about it. Okay.
Now, you also said you make good grades all around. You tell me, what kind of grades do you make?
No, I made an A in math, B+ in reading. I made an A in social studies, In language, I made a B.
Oh. Those are pretty good grades. Those will get you in about any college in the United States if you can keep those up. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's been nice talking to you, and I still don't believe you're just 10 years old. With all those skills, basketball skills and what have you, and the attitude you've got. It sounds like I'm speaking to a college person when you talk about what you're going to do in the future and making those good grades and staying where you're staying in school as long as you can. Well, we're going to talk to your reading pal, cohort, Eric, here in just a second, Eric Butterbaugh. So it's nice talking to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and good luck to you. You sound like you don't need a whole lot of luck. Okay. And now we're here with Kmarion's pal. That's your title, you said.
Yeah, reading pal, yep.
Eric Butterbaugh. Works for CSI. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great.
Okay, yeah. Now, how did you get into PAL? We'll start out there.
Yeah, so CSI is a big supporter of United Way and Reading Pals. So United Way came a few years ago and did a presentation kind of describing some of the volunteer opportunities, and then CSI encouraged any employees that wanted to get involved to do Reading Pals. So a number of us signed up, and they've been really encouraging about giving us time off to go and do it. So it's been really enjoyable.
Most companies do that. The place where I work allows you to do that too. I don't know how long they've been doing it, maybe 10, 15 years, or maybe I should have asked Anne. I'll ask her later on. Maybe she'll know what the answer to that is. But people watching this show, hopefully they're going to say, hey, maybe I'd like to volunteer some time. I've got a little bit of time. It's not that much time, is it?
No, it's really not. So it sounds like a lot because it's once a week, but it's only once a week whenever students are in session. And then it's also, you know, you work around holidays, you have to do testing.
Get Christmas off.
So, yeah, Christmas off, exactly, over the summers. So really it's not too bad, maybe, I don't know, 15 or 20 weeks a year that you actually end up committed to it. And then it's, you know, just an hour a week, and you can decide whether you do it, you know, in the morning, afternoon, or after school. So I do it, you know, during the day at lunchtime.
Now, if you sign up to do it during the day, can you not, if something happens, can you move it around? Or
It's pretty well set based on the kids' schedule. So, you know,
Kids'
especially
schedule.
here,
Child's
so
schedule, yeah.
we do it before lunch. So we'll get them about 40 minutes before lunch, and we'll read with them. So I have another guy I work with, Jonathan Short, who's also a reading pal for Kmarion, and we did that so that, you know, if one of us is out of town, the other can take over. And it really kind of alleviates some of the burden of, you know, volunteer and work around our schedules. So it's made it
That's
a
a
lot
great
easier.
idea. I didn't know that you could do that. I thought when you signed up that was you, but maybe you can even get 3 maybe?
Yeah, and you can get substitutes to come in
Yeah.
and, you know, work with it. It's just, you know, helpful that the biggest thing is for the student to be comfortable and knowing, you know, who's reading to them. So a lot of times when me and Jonathan can both come, we do. But if, like, for instance, he's out this week, so I'll be reading with Kmarion by myself. But
Okay. And then you come into the library, do you go to the cafeteria, or what's this?
yeah, so we'll go and we'll grab him from his classroom, and then we'll come back here, and then he'll either have a book that he's reading, or we'll go pick out a book. Usually spend 20 or 30 minutes reading the book, and then we'll try and take an AR test if he feels comfortable with it.
So you try to get a little bit more complicated book as you go along, or?
Yeah, we kind of usually just let his teacher kind of determine which books he's reading, and then he'll come to us with books, or he'll tell us what grade level he's reading at. We just are more encouraging of, like, him reading in general, and not necessarily trying to press him into harder and harder books.
Yeah.
It's just more about the camaraderie and making him feel like someone is watching him and encouraging him to read.
Somebody cares. Yeah.
Exactly.
Say somebody was a bad reader, you know, they couldn't read very well. I can see where this program would really be outstanding. What if the student is maybe okay or even advanced in reading? It still would seem like you could, by doing this, you can help him
Yeah.
be even better.
Absolutely.
Because our interview with him earlier didn't sound like he does pretty well in
He
reading.
does, yeah, he does. You know, coming off the summers, he's a little rusty, but, you know, by this point in the year, he's, you know, doing really great. He's reading much, much better than when we first started, and we can really see the progress, which is, you know, really fulfilling to see him continue to grow like that. But I have another guy I work with, Sam, who his reading pal has always been an exceptional reader, but he's been more of a mentor for his maybe some behavioral issues that he's had, just to make sure that he's you know, making good decisions and things like that. So he's more of a mentor than a reading pal, which is kind of I think the whole goal of this program is, you know, more than reading. It's about, you know, having someone that they can trust, that can help them continue to grow.
Talk to him, and you don't have to worry about, you know, talking to your family sometimes hard, but if you just see this person and know you can trust them and it's in confidence, I guess that you stress that being in confidence. So,
Yeah, exactly.
So how long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing it for 3 years. So Kmarion's my first reading pal.
Okay, so you've been doing it with him for 3 years. And has Jonathan been right along with you?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah, he sure has.
And I've heard people talk about, you know, sometimes during the progression that somebody will say in the 5th or 6th or 7th grade, I've had enough. I think I'm good. I don't enjoy this anymore or whatever. Then gets back out of the program. But say they continue to want a pal, and they don't force the children to do this, or even they don't force you to do it either.
Right.
This goes on to 6th, 7th grade, or?
So I think right now it is going into 6th, 7th grade, but I think Anne's actually working on a program to where it goes into high school. So less as a reading pal and more as a mentor, just to help them, you know, get through some of the challenges of middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Just to be someone to listen to and talk about, I don't know, maybe more adult conversations of, you know, less about school, more about just growing up. So, you know, hopefully if Kmarion still wants us around, we'll be able to work with him on through high school.
I want to thank you for coming in today
course.
and sharing with us your PAL experience. And thank you. I think we've come up with some new questions for Anne, who is up next. And thank you again.
Yeah, of course, enjoyed it.
And finally here with Anne Bidwell, who is a Community Impact Manager for the United Way of Paducah, Kentucky.
The United Way of Paducah-McCracken County.
McCracken County, we don't
Yes.
leave McCracken out of there.
That's
no.
right. We're one big happy family. We
Get
got to
fired.
include all the people.
How are we doing today?
Great, thanks.
Yeah, this is a little bit different for the show. How we've set this up where we talk to everybody individually. What does United Way do as far as reading pals? Tell me a little bit about background and how that got started,
Sure.
maybe. And
I'd be happy to do that. So the United Way of Paducah-McCracken County, our mission is to improve the conditions in education, income, and health for our area, for our hometown. And everything we do stays local. And as part of that, we were evaluating what the community's needs were about 10 years ago. And pretty quickly, one of the needs that we had was we didn't have a one-to-one mentoring program at all in the city or the county. And we saw very quickly that we could develop something that would create that, sort of like a Big Brothers or Big Sisters. And what we ended up doing with the schools partnership, which was great, is developing a one-to-one PAL situation where we put volunteers from our business community and the community at large together with students who were in need. And they would meet briefly once a week for maybe 30 minutes. In some schools, it can be up to an hour. And they would be that student's special person to help them with reading in the beginning. And we also have PALs that help with math. So that's one of the things we started. We started with 24 volunteers about 9 to 10 years ago in some of our pilot schools and within the city. And I'm happy to report to you that because of a lot of people's great time and effort, not just mine, lots of people and lots of years, we have 150 volunteers and about 150 students in 13 different schools in our city and our county.
in McCracken County.
Yes, sir.
Say that again.
Paducah City and McCracken County, both school districts. We're in both.
Well, it takes a full-time person keeping track of all that. Is that maybe you?
That is me. That is me. But I can tell you that up to this point, it's actually the United Way had a person over it who was only part-time. And so within this last year, I'm brand new to the United Way, they made the commitment to make my position a full-time position because the program continues to grow. And of course, it has a great deal of value, not just to the volunteers and the students in the school, but the community as a whole. The more connected we are across the generations, not just the youth, but also our adults, the better we're going to be able to work together as everybody ages. And, you know, our current pals are, you know, going to be people that our students are going to take care of someday. So we all want to be working together and helping each other out. And I think it's great to have the business community inside the schools so they know what the special needs are of our schools, because they're so important to everything that we do in the community.
And we interviewed one of the student pals
Yes.
earlier, and you talk about that little boy he is something. Yeah, I
He
kept
is very something.
questioning how old he was. He sounded to me like somebody, an adult you were talking to, and he got it all together. And I hope maybe his pals might be responsible for some of that because he's been working for 3 years with that.
Well, I tell you what, it's a great job that I have because I get to hear all these wonderful stories of the relationships that people form over time. I had a pal send me a message, an adult pal, that she'd been started to eat lunch with her student, and that she always ordered lunch or salad in the cafeteria, and that her student, she started noticing, started ordering salad as well. And they've been talking about healthy eating and that sort of thing. So she was just really gratified that she was having some sort of influence on her student beyond academics, that maybe they had, you know, started to mentor in sort of life choices, which was great. But all of our students are fantastic, and our volunteers are too, and they each bring something unique to the table. But it is magical when these little pairings form. The schools do a great job of finding great kids and you know, putting the right volunteers together. So
So the schools try to pick the kids, the
This
children?
is a true partnership, yes. So from the United Way's perspective, we recruit volunteers and we give them a little orientation program. And then I work with all the different schools in the program. Each school has a site coordinator for this program, like Miss Veatch is here at Morgan Elementary. And then we work together, and she is the liaison with the student. So she works with the different teachers in the school, and they identify kids that might benefit from having a volunteer. And between the school and me and the United Way, we work on that partnership together. And so we check on them both. I pop in and make sure all of our volunteers are doing well, and the school obviously keeps great track of the students, and they're watching those partnerships when I can't be there as well.
So if I want to be a pal,
Yes.
how can I go about that? Do you have a telephone number or something?
Well, yes, we would want someone to call the United Way. That's the greatest way to get involved, and they can call and ask for me or anybody in the office, but there is a phone number that I can give you and an email address and a website. We have all kinds of ways that you can contact us. Do you want me to do that now?
Would you please?
Oh, sure. So take out your pens and pencils. You can call 270-442-1691, or you can email me at Anne with an E at unitedwaypaducah.org. And then you can visit our website, which is unitedwaypaducah.org.
Yes, because that's the main thing.
Yes.
The school chooses the students, and you get this.
We need more volunteers. We have 150, and that's great, but all the schools tell me that they could take as many volunteers as we have. Every kid could use a special person checking in on them above their teachers and their parents, because it just shows them how much value that they have, that they are someone who is special, and that somebody can care about them and come once a week and talk about what's going on in school and help them out, and that just makes everybody feel better. It instills confidence. So we need more. We need more. We have some schools that we're servicing that don't have enough. Some of them have come onto the program a little bit later, like for instance our Reedland schools and our Heath Elementary schools. They can certainly use volunteers because that's kind of a long way for some people to drive. So.
Well, the time has flown by.
I know. I could talk all day about this.
So thank you for coming in.
No, thank you.
And I think you may see me as a pal someday again.
I'm
Yes,
going to hold you
you've
to that.
inspired
It's
me.
on tape
You've
now.
inspired me.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for watching Community Service Spotlight. I'm your host, Bud Qualk, and see you next time.